Alright, let's take a quick look at Intel stock, ticker symbol INTC. So Intel is at $50 and they just dropped from 60. So a $10 drop is insane. Um, they're they're dropping because they just released that they're going to be delayed in their next processor release date. So I think they're around 6 months delaying it, and due to some issue. I haven't looked into it a whole lot, but essentially they're delaying it, and then AMD is releasing their chips, so it's gonna hurt Intel. So Intel has been losing a lot of market share to AMD. AMD is just killing it. And ultimately, I believe AMD will take first, probably in 10 or 20 years, but they're making small moves and they're dominating. For example, they scored the PlayStation chips in previous years and they're continuing to provide their chips into PlayStation and maybe Xbox. I think I'm not quite sure on that one, but they're making key plays and they're just stealing market share away from them. And with their processors, they're people are realizing that a four-core Intel processor is not as good as an eight-core AMD processor, which is cheaper. And AMD has always been, let's give you more cores at a cheaper price compared to Intel's. Now Intel's competes with it, but in the end, software is being developed and computers are doing more things, so they need more cores. And Intel has always been, let's only offer a few quality cores and compete with AMD. And AMD is starting to, they're just, they're starting to get their teeth kicked in. It's a wake up call for them because nobody, well, I don't want to say nobody, but people are going out there and buying those 8-core AMD processors and God, they've got like 24 cores, 32 cores. It's insane, but the speed and what you can do with the AMD, it's just better because you have more cores. And Intel just keeps dropping the ball. They're still first. They own like 70% of the market, but it's slowly coming down because servers are using AMD processors now, which that's what Intel is known for. Intel dominates the computer market, servers and computer market, because when you buy a Dell or HP computer, they come with Intel processors. AMD notched out a little bit, and it's probably due to Intel being in cahoots with everyone, is they're only offered on a few product lines. So that hurts them, but it's good that they're in there. And eventually, Intel is going to get to the point where they can only offer so low prices. People are going to demand better prices, and computer companies are going to offer Intel or AMD processors instead. Because when you look at it, am I going to want to pay $500 for a Intel processor that, say, hypothetically has 4 cores, or am I going to want to pay $300 for a AMD processor that has 8 cores? Eventually, the time will run out, but as long as AMD keeps doing what they do, it will get there eventually. And Intel, it will hurt. And Intel, you don't really, in my opinion, it's too high of a price. They offer 2.6 dividend. It's not worth it, and it's not a growth play. It's not gonna go to $300 anytime soon. Maybe in 20 years, but their market cap is 200 billion, and AMD is gonna eventually hit 50%, I believe, in the market share, and that's when you're gonna see companies turn the tide and start choosing AMD, which they already are. And Intel is just there. Their their new chips are delayed. They're debating about outsourcing their production to another company, and they're doing that because Intel makes a couple hundred million processors a year. The company that they're going to choose makes billions of processors a year. Probably save costs because they're competing against AMD. AMD is kind of, it's almost, they're, I don't want to say they're becoming top dog, but they're really, they're learning and they're improving and they're doing a better job. And with AMD, you've got their graphic card lineup. So their graphic cards, I think, are shit. They're always have problems. They they break. If they could figure that part out, AMD is such a better company than Intel. And I believe it is now. And I used to be long AMD back when it was $1.80. I regret selling that. But I would say don't buy Intel. But do some research, do what you want, and have fun.